our availability today, we are open to any strategy that can make us attain our goals. And as the chair has said, we want Dr. Jane Ansah to resign because of the issues that have ably been raised by my colleagues. So I just wanted to emphasize that as Human Rights Defenders Coalition, we are open to any strategy that will make sure that we attain what we want, including contact and dialogue. And the dialogue that we're looking for is the dialogue that is not manipulative, as my chair would always say. We would want a dialogue that is open and transparent, and that's why we insisted on having this discussion open to all Malawians. Secondly, the chair said that we would want to see Dr. Jane Ansah resign. But you would agree with me that these calls have been there for the longest time. And from our perspective, we understand that she's been stubborn and she doesn't want to resign. And as moving forward, we would like you maybe to impress upon the appointing authorities, maybe to ask her, or rather relieve her of her duties on behalf of Malawi. Having said that, as Human Rights Defenders Coalition, we would pursue different strategies. But I think what we understand as of now, the language that the powers that we understand is the language of demonstration. And that we would like to promise you, for as long as she is on that seat, we will pursue other strategies. But our first stop would be to demonstrate. I would want to stop there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Dr. Bakili.
Thank you, Your Excellency. As has been reiterated in this meeting, we believe in genuine dialogue, not dialogue that is exclusive of other stakeholders. So, in our demands to call for Jane Ansah's resignation, we would also want to see an all-inclusive process, which includes all important stakeholders, including yourself, the PAC, and other interested parties to be part of the process, so that it garners the confidence of Malawians. And apart from the calling for the resignation of Jane Ansah, we also want to include the total dissolution of MEC and its commissioners as well. Jane Ansah is a symbol of MEC's incompetence, but we also feel the MEC commissioners are also part of the problem. And to avoid the further fragmentation of our country, I think there's also need to consider the recommendations of the constitutional review process in 2027, where I think the issues of Malawi's constitutional dilemmas were flagged out, and issues to do with Section 65, electoral reforms, and other such matters were flagged out. And there was a proposal for a new constitution. So as a broader strategy, I think we also need to include that. And lastly, I think we need to also remind those people we are targeting that I think constitutional values must be upheld, including the right to demonstration. I think we won't be manipulated, we won't allow them to manipulate Malawians' minds to say constitutions are a demonic strategy for destabilizing the country. I think the aim of the constitution is to strengthen democracy and not to devalue it. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think previous speakers have spoken about, and let me agree with them. I think our demand is straightforward, that Jane Ansah must go. And wherever you are taking this, I think this one is non-negotiable. We'll stop to go on the street until Jane Ansah will go. Let me also congratulate you for, I think, the work that you have done in other countries. I was also wondering why you are failing to do that in Malawi when people are demanding a very small thing for an individual, but you let all Malawians suffer because a single individual by the name of Jenny Ansa. I think for a long time, Your Excellency, you have let this situation go out of hand, yet you are still in Malawi. When we are coming here, people were not even, we're not even happy, confident enough that you take this negotiation between you, this dialogue between you and us, or this will be true dialogue, HRDC and the former president. But through your explanation, you have assured us a little that maybe this will work, and from today onwards, we'll be hearing good news that Janasa will go. But if Janasa is not going, she's not going, and we're not leaving in the street, we'll still be there. And again, wherever you take me these messages, I think also try to tell them that this country doesn't belong to cadets. This country belongs to Malawians, and we are Malawians. If they think belong to a certain tribe, belong to a certain party, then they own this country, I think they're making a very big mistake. We are all Malawians, whether I'm from Mangochi, Machinga, Chitiba, Kalonga, wherever we are all Malawians. So there is this tendency of thinking they are more superior because they belong to a certain tribe or to a certain party, and they can manipulate whatever they want in this country. We as HRDC, we are not moved. You will kill us, they will kill us, they will do whatever they want to us, but we are not going anywhere because we belong to this Malawi, and there's no another Malawi apart from this. So, Your Excellency, thank you very much for inviting us, but for us, the demand is very clear that the Janasa must go. And again, let us also take this message. Hatred speech in the areas that they are preaching, to lead a consensus. They think when they speak, we'll meet force to force in the streets. What's that? From the leader. What's that? Which force are you talking about? We have been emphasized on peace demonstration. And each and every time when we're in the street, we emphasize this. Whenever we are speaking to the demonstrators, we say, please, this is a peaceful demonstration. So, please, this is our demand, and for this demand for Janasa, we are not moved. And again, wherever there is misunderstood or some investigations, it's good to pave the way for investigation than to cling in the power and say, oh, I'm a Sinjoga, nizachoka kote likazalamu. No, magapa ni antaka kusema nitapita nikae kunyumba tifufuze kani inatabani. And you have done that for 10 years when you were president. You have sent people in their homes for investigation. So why not Janasa when Malawians are saying TPX cannot make someone to be a president in this country, or can make not someone to announce the winner of this election? Thank you.
Thank you. Could I respond?
Yes.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Chairman, and your colleagues for the issues that you have raised. And I understand you, and I hear you very well. I wanted to suggest that since now that I'm involved, I want you to cool down a little bit so that we discuss these matters coolly, with a sober mind. We should find a solution to this. Why am I mentioning this? Because I think we should isolate the issues. You have mentioned so many of them. The issue that is coming out very clearly is to say Dr. Jenny Ansa must resign. If she doesn't, we'll go on the street. Is that what I understand?
Yes.
Okay. I thought we should isolate that issue as an issue which we can discuss. I understand your concerns. Now, in commenting that issue, I wanted to make a suggestion, and the suggestion is as follows. Because you are a human rights organization, and we believe in human rights, the issue of the elections is in court. It's a discussion that we want to discuss. I'm not saying that's what I believe. It's in court. We don't know what the court is going to say. about these issues. They may come on and say, let's have a run, like they did in Kenya. I think you remember that. They may say, oh, no, there are no issues at all. I just want to ask a question. What will become then of Dr. Jane answer? I thought what you should be saying perhaps would be to say, let Dr. Jane answer step aside whilst we are waiting for the court to decide what happened. That is a better way of putting it, because then you will be saying the issue of human rights is there. It's just a suggestion. Because you are a human rights defenders, and these issues are sometimes of human rights issue. And as I say, it's just a suggestion I'm making, so that wherever I take the issue, maybe I can be suggesting that. I say, look, well, the matter is in court, what can we do to resolve this matter? How do you say that, Chair? It's just thinking aloud.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. This is an issue of language. Mm-hmm. Resigning might mean step aside.
Okay.
To say there are issues here.
Okay.
We don't want to pretend. We cannot trust her to continue at MEC while we still have these issues. Now, we would like to make a clarification. The coalition is not in public challenging the results of an election. We are not here to challenge the results. The politicians, political parties are in the court challenging the results. The issue before the court is not whether Jane Ansah should resign or not. We thought even Jane Ansah herself misled the nation when she said, let's wait the court to determine whether she did a good job or not. I don't think that is the question before the courts. For us, inspired by Section 12, Your Excellency, which talks about trust, we woke up in shock as citizens to see that the election that we voted had tippets on it. And we felt that is an ethical issue. It is a competence issue. It is a professional issue. It is an issue of trust. So if you look at our demand, it's not challenging the elections, the results. That is the game of politicians. But for us, we look at the person that we asked to run the show. Eventually we saw these gaps and were told that there were irregularities, 147, and no one knows how even a single one was addressed. But results were announced. So what we're saying here is that, Your Excellency, you have said very well. Maybe our language is a bit different with what you have said. To step aside. Mm-hmm. Actually, we are saying she should resign. Mm-hmm. And in our language, it's as good as to say she should step aside so that there can be proper investigations. Okay. And beyond that, our people out there, your people, the people of this country, our brothers and sisters, are saying they can no longer trust her to be at MEC. So we wonder how they want to stick to that position. It doesn't mean that if she resigns, then the court has passed the judgment. The issue of the court is different, but as Dr. Reverend Sembereka said, we're talking about issues of trust. So we don't want her to continue because we can no longer trust her. And that's why we're requesting you to say, can you help us? And even any other stakeholders that she should set aside as investigations.
Step aside
as investigations continue. That has been our language, that she should resign so that we should see.
Who's doing the investigation?
About the investigation, the thing is, for the court also to make determinations, there are also investigations involved. People would want to seek information from MEC. And when I'm at the helm of the institution and I'm the one people are questioning, you know, to some extent you can compromise information. So if her and the other commissioners were able to say, we did a good job, and we challenge you that even if you say we step aside, everything go on very well, it's another case. But when they are insisting, it's like you are in the minibus and something has been stolen, and the owner is saying, can we search everyone? Then the conductor and one of the people in the minibus says, no, don't search me, we should not search, and the conductor insists. The conductor in this case is MEC and the MEC chair herself. So we say the conductor should have the best interest of those complaining in the minibus. So that's where we fail to understand, to say, why are they failing to step aside for the country to move forward?
Okay.
Your Excellency, you alluded to the fact that we are a mouthpiece to the people.
Indeed.
What Malawians don't want is their vote to be T-vexed. Up to now, the outcry you see in the streets have been in the demos, and I've seen Malawians walking, others even vigiling, sleeping, people from the village. The onus, the question coming all along is, does the procedure or the process allow for T-vexed? And the chairperson of MEC herself said, no, it's not acceptable. She ably echoed the same. And when those things have been unraveled and packed, there is no moral reason or no moral obligation for you to stick to it when the owners of the votes out there are saying. So our call has been very clear, and we wish the chairperson of MEC took heed of our call earlier on, because we have always been constantly saying, but what we get after a demo, we hear she had an interview. She said she will not resign. She will not resign. That is at the expense of the country. Unfortunately, one person cannot hold this country to a ransom. We need to transcend our personal egos and make sure that Malawians count more than we ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I've said it's not about who won or who lost. It's about the trust. Because what we're asking is, even the court has made the decision, can Malawians allow the Nigerian answer to manage another election? I think that's a question.
I don't know, Your Excellency, if you, before you invited us, you also had some talk with Jenasa or the holding authority to hear from our side, because it would have been also good to hear from our side before us also, or if not, maybe you go after this meeting. And again, I don't know if Your Excellency, in 10 years after you wrote, did you supply any tipex to anyone?
Tipex? I never ran an election, so no.
So, if you have never done that, we don't want to continue with bad practices in Malawi. We want good practices in Malawi. You know why we're doing this? You and me, maybe sooner or later we'll go.
Go where?
To join the angel.
Why are you anticipating that?
but Your Excellency, you have to think of the generation, the kids who are at another school today. Will this really be the way of running the election? Thank you, Your Excellency.
think so. You want to speak?
No, you can proceed.
Oh, no. I just wanted to say that we are discussing.
Yes.
Okay? As I said, I wanted to engage you, to hear you, to understand you. And I think in a conversation like this, it's give and take. I mean, we are talking.
Yes.
You know? The reason why I was suggesting about, to say, the language, to say, is it not to say that can she step aside? Is that what we should be saying other than resigning, Chair? It was just a suggestion.
Yes.
Right. I will not be the one to make a decision at all. It's for me to understand it properly so that I convey the message clearly and so that the people can understand. What we're trying to do is to avoid these demonstrations continuing and find a solution to it. And from what I hear is that you would want, this particular issue to be resolved. Right? So that's why I'm saying, can we find a better way? We are conversing here, Secondly, I was in Swaziland. I think you were with me, Ramek. There was an issue where government locked up civil society organization. I think it's Chair, Mr. Masuku. I don't know whether you remember Mr. Masuku. He was in prison, and I went there on behalf of the Commonwealth. Met the king, met people, the government there. And there was a call to say that no, we will not have these discussions until our friends are released. Right. I'm talking about the timing now, the time. I said, oh, fine, I understand you. But give me time because I have to go and see the king. And the king had a brother in South Africa, where I had to fly to go and see the brother. Now, why am I raising this issue is because you say that you'll have the demonstrations on Thursday?
Yes.
Yes. Would you not be giving me time to do the consultation which I want to make? Because the idea is for you to resolve this matter. All right. I have to travel maybe to the wrong way, meet the people that could be there, since this issue, particular issue, has to be resolved. How do you see that, Chairman? It's a matter of the time.
I think, with due respect, Your Excellency, I think if we try to connect the issue of demonstrations with the resignation of Jane Ansah, I'm afraid it won't work. But I think if we deal with these issues in isolation, it will be better. But because for us, constitutional rights cannot be compromised upon, and therefore it will be difficult for us as human rights defenders to suspend demonstrations while we wait, because your discussions may take long, and I think there would be a perception out there that we've been manipulated into something we wouldn't want to do. That would be my position.
Your Excellency, I understand your point of view. I appreciate that. We are all concerned with regards to the continuum of the demonstration. But knowing our government and knowing the people you may be going to consult, if we say today we are stopping the demonstration.
Not stopping,
no,
Reverend.
We are,
Nobody thinks to stop.
We are coming down, we are postponing the Thursday or the other days demonstrations. I wish the powers that be could have made the decision expeditiously, knowing that the situation is as volatile as it is concerning you as well. So my concern is out there people are looking up to us, and we don't want even to put you in a very awkward situation where you receive a lukewarm attention and don't get the expected results, And yet, you've pleaded with us to say, can we calm down a bit? The onus is really on the people out there. We have a push, and the push is big. It's unfortunate that perhaps people look at us and think the push is in us. The push is out there. When you see the messages we get every day, this issue should have been resolved long before. But we would rather ask Your Excellency that we take a simultaneous process. As you continue discussing and as we continue doing what people are telling us to do, then we get an amicable resolve. The moment we get that amicable resolve, perhaps you will even call us and say, Zinthu zijaza zizia. But our fear is, and we know our government, we know ayambakale kunena kunjako, kunena kuti awaitana achea kuti akaletse kuchita mademo. And some of the people who are parading these lies are from the system. Are from this system, and the system is expecting kuti if we will stand aloof and until you. So my plea with Your Excellency is, Chonde, we know that you have to take these issues to the people that make decisions. You are just facilitating the process.
Correct.
And being a facilitator in that regard, we are conveying that message to you, to them through you, to say if they make that decision, the area, then it will help all of us. And it will calm down this country. Otherwise, zose zimene tikunena kuti dziko lino my business akuima, majani anthu akuvutika, the economy is shrinking, anzathu akuboma amakanga nthawi zina sakuziona. When you listen to them, tsiku lililonse unena kwacha is gaining, kwacha ikuchita mwakuti, and yet we are in this crisis. Thank you.
Chairman, I wanted you to understand, to say that I understand the right to demonstrate is a constitutional issue. I'm not disputing that. And it's a right of Malawians to do that. But because we are engaging in these discussions, all what I'm asking is that since you have brought an issue, could you not give me time so that that, like you were saying, the power that actually appointed the answer, to go and see them, to say, I've met the human rights defenders. This is what they're demanding. Meanwhile, you not postpone. Yes, you postpone. Maybe give me 7 days thereabout. That's all what I'm asking. But we cannot be, you have been demonstrating 6 times, I think, we have gone on these streets. Dr. Joyce Jenas has not resigned. So, I want to plead that would you not consider postponing these demonstrations maybe until next week? Tomorrow is Wednesday. Thursday, these people are in Lilongwe. I fly to Lilongwe, have discussions with them. Then I come back to you and say, this is what they're saying. But for us to say, must demonstrate, who can be announced, I don't know. I'm not saying don't demonstrate. I'm one of those that actually, as somebody who believes in democracy, supported the human rights issue. And to demonstrate is a right. The good news is that people will be listening to what we're talking about. And we believe that our people are wise people. I'm not asking for too much. I'm not saying 2 months, 3 months, no. I'm saying give me maybe until next week, putting the calendar in Tawi, to travel to Lilongwe, meet those that actually are the appointing authorities. I say, Palima consensus. Because you are not talking about the issue of the electoral commission itself, the electoral reforms you are talking about. We need to talk about those things. Please let us understand. Can we cool down? Your supporters, my supporters, I know, they are actually listening to what we are discussing. This is just a plea.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think the challenge that is there is that you have made one side. You have made us only. So we don't know what that other side will say. Because for us, the issue of concern is that the issues that we are raising are not new to them. We have petitioned them so many times. They have never even acknowledged our petition. They have never even responded to the issues that we raised. Now, I think for us to stop the demonstrations, I think it's very difficult, but also Malawians cannot allow that, because you have only made one side. So we cannot wait for their response, because all along, for the past 2 months, we have been demonstrating, and they have never responded to the issues. And we know it's the issue of that impunity that we are dealing with. So I think for us, maybe the two processes should go together. That's why we have come to have the dialogue. We can only stop the other dialoguing through demonstrations if we have that commitment that Jane Asa is going to resign. Because for us, the demonstration is part of the dialoguing with the government. And that is why we have come here, also to have conversation with you, Your Excellency, because we believe in dialoguing, using so many ways. So for us to stop one strategy of dialoguing with the government that do not want to listen, I think it would be like you are asking too much from Malawians. Though we have said that you are not asking for too much, but we know the government that we are dealing with. So for us to stop the demonstrations for someone that we have engaged direct through demonstration for 2 months, and they haven't even said a single word, I think that is also hard for us to accept that. You have tomorrow, if the other leadership thinks that this country is in a crisis, I think they would have intervened a long time ago. They cannot wait for 7 days to have that conversation. We have to be very honest. This government maybe do not care in terms of what is going on, and that's why it's business as usual. So for us, we can only stop the demonstrations if there is that commitment from the government, and we appreciate that commitment, that they are really committed to address these issues, because we are coming as a mediator in these issues. The other parties, maybe you don't know what they are feeling, what they are thinking of, and that's why we are saying, unless if we hear the position of the other side, of course we know already their position is that they don't want to resign. So Your Excellency, maybe on that one, maybe you can forgive us to continue with the demonstrations, but as well to continue with this conversation, so that we reach that decision that can also benefit both sides, specifically that can benefit the Malawians. Because for us as HRDC, we are pro-citizens, we are pro-Malawians. That's why you are seeing us, insisting on the demands of the citizenry. Thank you.
Gift, I understand you fully very well. It's not as if I don't understand you.
Yes.
I am only saying that we have to have a solution to this issue. And because I have come in to help, would you not give me time? If you think that you can't, it's in a dialogue like this one. I think it's better. That's why I say, can we cool down a little bit? Bire. No, Mr. Tembo wants to speak. But before you speak, I wanted to emphasize that I'm not stopping the demonstration, and I would not want to say, please stop demonstration. No. Because you are doing this on behalf of Malawians, and I'm honest person. All what I'm saying, because I have come in, and you would want me to engage the other side, would you not give me at least, say, 7 days, so that I have time to travel to Lilongwe, meet these people, and say, I'm sure they'll be watching, all right? Through whatever media, to say that these go. It's up to them to say, no, Situkufuna. Then I'll come back to say, Ndalepera. Do you hear me? Kuma, please, I want to plead. To say, give me a bit. This demonstration is a right. And the Malawians would want to demonstrate if there are issues. But please, we are discussing, and in any discussion, it's give and take. But if you take a hard line, I don't think it will help anybody. I'm just asking for maybe until next week. Today is Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and if you're demonstrating on Thursday, how am I going to travel? No, it's a serious matter. I mean, at Natenje, my only relative of mine was traveling from Lilongwe. Arrived at Natenje, kunali miyala, and people were demanding money. And this relative of mine had to say, these are issues which you must also be concerned. There's so many things. There is a lady that was coming from, I think works for EcoBank, coming from the wrong way. Her car was smashed. So I'm saying, I have come in to say, can we find a solution to the issue? I'm with you. I'm not saying we should stop the demonstration. Comment the person in touch so that I can also, because since it's a conversation, it's a dialogue. Depending somebody in and the guy was and now. The last 2 months you're talking about, there wasn't a contact like this one. Trust me, I'll bring this. It's up to the government because I'm not the appointing authority. If they say we can't do it, I'll come to you honestly and in an open manner to say that nothing is being done. It can be done. Mr. Tembo. Okay,
thank you, Your Excellency. We really appreciate what you're putting on the table. And while we would want to think along your line of thinking, I think it's also important that you appreciate where we're coming from as a people and as human rights defenders coalition. My colleagues have already indicated earlier on that we're dealing with a government that it is apparent that the only language they hear louder is the language of demonstration. We made to believe that the discussion we are holding here has to an extent has to do with the demonstrations that we've been doing. Had it been that there were no demonstrations, I don't think we would be here, and the issues will still be stuck with us. So that's where we are coming from, a government that we think the only language that they hear most or they hear louder is the language of demonstration. That's why we say, while we pursue the dialogue, the contact and dialogue path, we should not suspend the language that we think brings results. We condemn the violence that you have mentioned. As Human Rights Defenders Coalition, we've been preaching and propagating peace in all our calls to people to come to the streets. We've been propagating peaceful demonstrations, and we condemn, and we've been calling on the authorities to make sure that they protect property and lives of people. We've got a momentum right now as Human Rights Defenders Coalition and as a people of Malawi. The momentum is there, the momentum that will not stop until the issues that we're demanding are addressed. And we fear that if we say, okay, let's give room to contact and dialogue, the momentum that we've gathered will die down and the issues will still stack. And the powers that be will say, okay, fine, now we've dealt with them, they are done. So we've got examples, please, where people will be going to the streets and then the powers that will say, okay, let's come and dialogue. And that's it. Things will die down. We're not saying that that's the route you want to take us through, but we're just raising these issues as a matter of example and learning points on how those can inform our way forward. And just to mention, as we are discussing right here, we said yesterday that the demonstrations has been pushed to Thursday. But in Salima, people are in the streets. So it's difficult. We can promise here to say, okay, fine, we will momentarily stop the demonstrations. But the noble cause, we've got active citizenry out there that we might not even have the powers to say, okay, stop. Because as human rights defenders, we've told them stop. So it's an issue that maybe we need to explore it broadly without necessarily narrowing our path to go through demonstrations and then we suspend the other strategies that we think will bring the results that we want. I thank you, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, a key principle in negotiations and political settlements is making trade-offs. And we cannot be expected as human rights defenders to be making the trade-offs while the other party has not said anything or committed itself to making trade-offs as well. So for us, it will be very difficult for us to make any trade-offs, particularly involving the suspension of elections, because it's a constitutional right, and we feel that's not an area we can negotiate upon. And I think, and up until the time when the other side also makes trade-offs, then we'll be willing to make compromises. But subject to that absence, then I think it would be very difficult.
Your Excellency, I totally agree with you that in dialogue there is give and take. And that's the way to go. And again, give and take should not be from one side, should be from both sides. General lives in Blantyre, which will not even take 15 minutes or 20 minutes to drive from our house to this conference hall and meet you. First of all, you should ask General, is your conscience clear that Malawian should go this direction? Before you meet the appointing authority. Because when you go and meet the appointing authority, now will be by force to General say, you go, you go. It's like, is the appointing authority they are firing General. Umamafunse mai General. Zikuchitika nziko muno. Inuyo no kantimo wangu. Ugola na that side. So for us, if you meet her even this evening and you say no and say I'm resigning, because she has also has cautious, she tell her that I think zimezi kuchitikazi akambira kuzo katonda zimsizi kuenda ineyo ndikavumigaye anthu abitize chisamples. If she will do that in the morning, if at the same time we're having a press conference, say okay guys, timegaye maya just here udino. But if you try to tell us Banji Mubase guy 1 minute, Your Express, I think this is the tactics. Meaning, if our demand is Jenasa must go, and Jenasa, you have our contact, she's in Atlanta. Why can't you proceed and call her, say we need these guys, and this is what they're saying? And again, giving the examples that you are trying to give us, and ask her clearly, is your conscience tells you to continue with this job? Even if the court says tomorrow, the samples not have been good, but Malawian will still demand Jenasa must go, because we don't want TBEX to be used in any election in future. So the best way you express is you contact first Jenasa before you contact the appointing authority. Because if you contact the appointing authority, it will be them firing Jane Ansah in her position. But her, she should voluntarily resign and say, from what happened, I think I have to go. My conscience tells me I should go. But you know, this pains us mostly. When we are on the street and she came on the Zodiac, you know, this is mob justice. What is mob justice after all? So for us, Your Excellency, as you said, this is give and take. We totally agree with you. It's give and take. And you should also take our position that Thursday we are going to the street again. But if in the afternoon tomorrow or in the morning tomorrow she's resigning, we'll back off. Thank you, Excellency.
Maybe just to come in to conclude the position, you know, Your Excellency, we have a lot of respect for you, and we do not take this for granted. We wished we were having such discussions frequently on a number of issues in this country. I said from the beginning, you know, the problem at hand has been accumulative. We talked about a number of issues which you said we cannot address every issue, but we strongly believe that leaving other issues, it will be like we're just scratching the problem on top. The issue that Jane Ansah should resign is a trust issue, and it's an issue that is not negotiable, because this was not started by us. I would like to remind you, Your Excellency, that before Human Rights Defenders Coalition organized even a single demonstration on these issues, citizens of this country were already on the streets. And we have come in even to sanitize the process, that we can even send a letter to the city council, and some people like Chanza would have the audacity even to reject our rights. You know what is making people furious? The behavior of also the authority that side, thinking that they own our rights. They are the sole deciders of our fate. That all our rights we surrendered to them, and they can say this, and the whole country should accept to say this is the direction. Now, Your Excellency, the issues that we listed from the very beginning, please, we would want you to take our message that the issue that Jane Ansah should resign, it's the issue that Malawians are demanding. And when we talk about dialogue, we are not dialoguing to say whether Jane Ansah should resign or not, because that's what many people are saying. Because where we are going, some people might argue to say, no, some people are not saying that. But we should know that if we prolong this problem, it's going to become big and it will be difficult to control. Even if we say today that let's postpone the demonstrations, believe you me, come Thursday, people will be out in the streets, as he was giving an example of Salima and other places. Yesterday, we faced deep pressure from citizens. We had already mobilized, we spent resources, we did this to mobilize the people. And you people are telling us to say we're not doing a demonstrations on the 11th hour. And we said, no, we are not postponing this because we are meeting the former president. There were logistical issues that we highlighted why we had postponed. But people were failing to understand there were still more linking things to this. So, Your Excellency, we would like to request that if you would reach out to Dr. Jane Ansah quickly, even if it was a call now and she says she has resigned, we are going to put our tools down now. We are just assuming. But for dialogue, the issues to do with the constitutional review process, we want to engage as a nation on these issues. Electoral reforms, including 50+1, corruption to come to an end, nepotism to come to an end. We don't want our tribes to be hating each other that when somebody sees a different tribe, say, these people, they think they're special. We should love each other. Respect of rule of law and ending threats against human rights defenders. This is the package of dialogue, Your Excellency, which we would want to bring on the table, that if we want to negotiate and discuss, we should start remaking our country by looking at the fundamental problems that we have had for a long time, which has contributed to the accumulation of anger by the citizens of this country. Look, Your Excellency, how can you feel as a bona fide citizen, somebody to call you a foreigner?
Who is a foreigner?
Me.
You're from Karonga, you guy. I know you're from Karonga. How can you be
They're
a
calling
foreigner?
me a foreigner, and somebody calls me on the dialogue table and say, you say I'm a foreigner. I do not belong to this country. Is it a crime for me to fight against corruption?
But
Is it a
you know
crime
what? You know what, Tim?
to fight against
When you are a leader, there are so many things which are going to be said about you. Don't worry don't worry about that. You come from Karonga, you know. Karonga Chitipa. You come from Karonga, I know that.
Exactly, Your Excellency. So I'm just trying to say that some small things that have made Malawians angry for a long time. And Your Excellency, if you came in area issues of corruption, when people are fighting, nepotism, I would be very honest. Under your leadership, we never saw nepotism as we're seeing now for the past few years. So these are some of the things that we would want you, our leaders. We are not saying this to persuade you or whatsoever. You are still a leader, you see, at your own level. We want our leaders to be engaging, to make sure that how can we make our country better. Our people, when they go to the hospital, they will tell them that there are no drugs. Go and buy. You expect somebody sick, and people are dying preventable death. These are some of the things that we say we should not make a generational mistake that will haunt us forever. And we appreciate, we are ready to engage everyone. Malawians didn't want us to come to negotiate, to have a discussion. But we believe in discussion, and we believe that you mean well to this country, and it's our hope that all our leaders should mean well to all of us. So the issue of Jane answer to resign, it's not negotiable. Sorry to say so, because if we are to say yes here, our people out there, they will say no. And they will say, who told you that you have the right to decide on our behalf? And in the end, things will backfire. And if we are to say on Thursday we should postpone, what will happen? People will go out, because they were going out even before human rights defenders started organizing. But we're trying to sanitize the process by bringing the law, we apply, and some people try to reject. And every day we are spending money to pay lawyers. Every time we want to do a demonstration in Blantyre, Mr. Chanza will rise and say, you will not do it. So on Thursday, most of us are even thinking of coming to Blantyre, that we are going to camp here and make sure that we should see whether Chanza owns us as a people, because Blantyre is our home, Tioro is our home, Mangochi is our home, Chitipa is our home. So we just want to change the narrative. Thank you.
Chair, I understand you very, very well. Like I said in the beginning, that the purpose of this meeting is to create a conversation, to talk about this issue. We are Malawians. And you know, when Luke Tembo spoke, he said that we are raising these issues to you, meaning me. We want you to raise this issue to the appointing authority. That's what we said. And I think it was also said by, I don't know, I can't remember, I think the chair. And indeed true, I'm not the appointing authority. I'm only coming in to help to say how can we resolve this issue. Or what I was asking, and as I said, I hope I'm not asking too much, is that can we not create a window of giving me time to say, okay, today is Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, maybe next week, you can go on these demonstrations. I'm not stopping, because I don't have the power to stop a demonstration. But we want to resolve this issue. I really want to plead with you to say, if it please allow me to have the opportunity. I wish for instance, the appointing authority was here in Blantyre. I would be saying, no, I will definitely go there this afternoon and all that, but I have to travel all the way to the wrong way and all that. And that's why I'm saying, because of this, and because this is a conversation we're engaging ourselves, please give me time so that you give me time to create and engage the appointing authority about the issue that you are raising.
We know that it might not be a good idea that we should keep maybe repeating the same things, and we feel like to some extent it might be misinterpreted that we do not respect elders. We respect you so much, to the extent that even if when we continue saying no, you say this, we say no, you say this, we say no, eventually it might appear that we are being disrespectful. We respect you, Your Excellency. But as I indicated from the beginning, that one thing that we should understand is that this issue, there are people there, and we have to manage the public. In the end, if we think we can make decisions on behalf of the public, the danger that becomes is that the public say, we kick you out, who do you think you can represent us? We are going to take it our own way. And I think the problem that we're complaining right now might even worsen. All we want is to help put our people together and do things in a manner that will be building our country rather than destroying the country. Now, can we give you an opportunity? We talked about that two phases here. We talked about the appointing authority, which Mr. Tembo talked about. But we also talked about Jane Ansah should voluntarily resign. Can we give you the feedback after we should hear from you that you have talked to Jane Ansah, and we should hear a response? Then, if we hear the response of Jane Ansah, tomorrow we should also help to discuss with the citizens. We can have even a press conference to say this is the feedback that we have had from Jane Ansah, and this is the direction that we think as a country we can take. But if we rush just to agree here, tomorrow we might regret that we are thinking of resolving a problem while we are worsening the situation. As I said, I'll keep repeating, before we started our demonstrations, people were already demonstrating. And they have written us this letter. Perhaps this is an issue that you should also know, that the HRDC should pay all the people. And we all know in this country that we had a similar scenario in 2011, and our government paid Muri brothers billions. And civil society and citizens objected to say, no, that is, we can't lose taxpayers in such a manner. But the same government insisted. But the same government now, they're saying Human Rights Defenders Coalition, you have to pay. So when you want us to follow some things, we would like to raise from you that you should also engage those other people. They should understand that somehow they might be thinking to say they're threatening us to stop, to start fearing, but the point is we are not going to be afraid, because we know we are standing on the platform of justice, and we know that whatever we're saying, millions of Malawians are also saying the same. So we are just leaders of an institution, but Malawians are saying Jane Ansah should go. Please help us to engage Jane Ansah. Then by tomorrow maybe we can have some feedback. Then we say, okay, this is the step, how far Jane Ansah has moved, what should we do? And we'll be available anytime you want us to engage. We will be available because we respect you.
Maybe Your Excellency, just the last one. But also I think we have a window of, because we are doing our demonstrations on Thursday. So we have a window of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So we believe that I think these are enough days if the other side is committed, is serious to make this impasse come to an end, I think you can engage them in these days, because our demos are always on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
That the purpose of this meeting was to create a conversation and to engage with you. And indeed, trust me, the issues that we have raised, it's not that I will just discuss them and leave them here. Right? There is an appointing authority who appointed the Dr. Jenny's answer you talked about. Demonstration is a right, definitely, no doubt about that. But we must also accept that these demonstrations have caused a lot of economic hardship. You know that, Chair. To the economy, even, the shops get closed, the banks are not open. There are so many things. So I was saying, this Thursday, would you not give me a chance so that I can travel to Lilongwe and meet the authority, the appointing authority, talk to them, and I'll come back to you and say, look, Apana, Avomera. And fortunately, they'll be following this on the media. The press is here. And would we not, only for Thursday? Amachando, why are you hitting your head? Stop. He's the headliner one. Don't listen to this guy. No. We are talking. We are discussing. And I think Malawis there are intelligent enough. You are representing them. If you go there to say you met a former president requested just for 1 week, maybe next week, Tuesday you can have what you give me this time to because I know traveling to go to the Lilongwe, come back to talk to these people. I know what I'm talking about. I am again appealing to you. The demonstrations on Thursday, if they can be postponed, I'm not saying stop. You can have Amachanda, you can have them next week. Yeah. You like walking, you guys. You're what?
We are still fresh.
You're fresh? I'm not fresh. Can you see my gray hair? Yeah, I really want, since we are talking, please, and Akumvera, you are the leaders. I know people, you are saying they're angry there. We understand that. I live in this country. Could the demonstration on Thursday be postponed? So that I can engage you also.
Your Excellency, I think as you've emphasized throughout this meeting, it's a conversation that we're engaging in.
Yes.
And I think it would be prudent upon both sides not to rush into making decisions that we'll regret later, as the Chair rightly noted. And with that said, I think it is important for us to emphasize that I think that position on demonstrations is settled on our side. And I think, as the Vice Chair rightly suggested, I think there are also other windows of opportunity for you to engage with the other side. Because I think right now, too much is being asked of us as human rights defenders. And I think this conversation should not dwell unnecessarily on the demonstrations, but I think on the substantive issues, which are peace building, which will only come about with the resignation of Jane Ansah. Because I'm afraid if we continue discussing, I think we are reaching a deadlock as it stands, on the issue of suspending the demonstrations. So I think we should discuss these issues beyond the postponement of the demonstration. I thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Your Excellency. In the beginning, you cited quite a number of difficult situations that this country passed through. And you ably articulated on how you use your skills to resolve such kind of issues. Some of us were still in primary school then, but we read that in 1999 there was an issue to do with the then chairperson of the Malawi Electoral Commission. And we read that due to issues that were raised then, he honorably stepped down. And while we might not have time to learn from that situation, but we understand that you were there and then you were the president. I don't know how difficult it was, but what I'm saying is the call that we're making today is not new. We've had a person on that seat who, upon hearing the concerns of people, honorably resigned. So what we're just saying here is, why can't you come in today to push the last battle? Because Malawians have been pushing, and we believe that your coming in is only to facilitate, to see that we've got a resolution to this impasse. And we would want you to use the skills, the experience that you've had, and make sure that our demands are met. Just to emphasize, I said earlier on that in any advocacy strategy that one employs, including the push that we're making through demonstrations, momentum counts. And we are afraid we don't want to lose our momentum. Where one day that you're asking might, on the face, look like it's nothing, but in advocacy, it's everything. The moment we say, okay, fine, we proceed with postponing our demonstration on Thursday, we might lose everything. Not only losing everything, but we might be thinking that we want to correct the things, that things will degenerate into chaos, as my chair has been saying, that we here to sanitize the process. If you look at the demonstration, the last demonstrations that happened, compared to the other demonstrations that we've been doing, you would find out that the last demonstrations were a bit peaceful. And that's the stand and that's the style that we would want to pursue. I understand that your concern is on violence, but this is where all stakeholders need to come together. We call for peaceful demonstrations. We also want all those stakeholders involved, including you, Your Excellency, and the powers that be, to make sure that they don't provoke the situation, and they make sure they provide the security that is needed. What we want is to have simultaneous processes to make sure that we achieve our goal. We are afraid that if we only pursue one, we've got examples where we've been shortchanged by the system.
Give an example.
Okay, we're giving an example of there was a situation where Public Affairs Committee wanted to demonstrate, and I think that was the 50 plus electoral reforms. And the powers that be said, okay, fine, come to a round table, let's discuss. And that was it. They kicked out the 50 plus one, and that didn't have any energy now to regroup and pursue the demonstration. That's where we have the problem to say, okay, fine, we've seen examples. We've got a lot of examples. It's not only the 50 plus one, there are a lot of examples where people would hide behind demonstrations to frustrate the process. So that's where we are afraid. If you can assure us that if we don't pursue the demonstration, things are going to we're going to achieve our results, fine and good. But we don't think that's the strategy, or that's the route that we would want to take as human rights defenders. I thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think just to add, Your Excellency.
Have I given you the floor?
Your Excellency,
No, you're gone.
Your Excellency, I think we are representative of our friends outside there as well. And this is what we agreed that demonstration should continue. I think if we continue talking the same thing, I think we have now nothing to add, but just to assure that demonstration phase will continue. We only suspend if Jane Answer resigns tomorrow morning or in the afternoon. Then we can suspend and say, okay, there is the way forward here. But as you rightly said, Your Excellency, this is give and take. And you should also take hours. Say, let's continue this. You can continue doing your own thing, going to meet the appointing authority, which we also not sure if you achieve anything out of that, because we know the people, kind of people that we are going to deal with. They have already have their own position on this matter. So as Malawian, we have also have our own position. Our position is very clear, Your Excellency, is that Madam Jane Answer must go. If you try to invite her today and give you a very good feedback, because this is the center point of all our discussion. If she said, Your Excellency, I think from the discussions, my conscience tells me I should go, then we will reappreciate in the morning. You pause, of the demonstration, because that's the main aim of our demonstration. But even if we stay here for another 2 hours asking us to postpone the Thursday demonstration, we'll never do that. We are not going anywhere. What we are trying to do, Your Excellency, is when we are coming here, people are saying, I'm Rosie, Alandrama, Jogger of Moma, Afuna Batin, Kurumbangi Council my demonstration. And that's why we also demanded Dr Bakili when I was not still running around. But we are demanding the rights of people. So, Queen, Your Excellency, we are trying to protect your image. Say you didn't get any money from anyone to convince us to stop the demonstration. But what you are trying to do is now to force us to postpone to pass the demonstration. Yet that's not the way to go. Because the dialogue is a process where we discuss and find the lasting solution. But lasting solution should not be coming from the first area meeting. Say this is the lasting solution. Postpone. So, Your Excellency, I think we have discussed it for a long time, almost 3 hours. Before I give it to the chair, I think our position is clear. We'll continue with the demonstration Thursday. If she resigns tomorrow in the afternoon or in the morning, we'll postpone. Thank you.
There is something I just wanted to comment what Mr. Wachande is saying. Ali. This issue about saying that each time people want to talk, so I think it's very bad.
Frustrating.
I get offended.
Yeah, sure.
Huh? Honestly, I get offended. It's I think Malawians should be able to say, can we meet and say, what is this? I think this attitude must change. It's a very bad attitude because it will stop some of us to say, can we meet? I told you in the beginning that this meeting was called on my own initiative. Nobody's initiative. But in the media says, Apita Atuma. What is this? Can we not really converse? I mean, meet and discuss issues? No, I think it's wrong.
It's very wrong.
We should condemn it because you will be actually stopping the goodwill which can be there.
Yeah.
When I was hearing that you didn't want even to come here, I said, fine, I'm walking out. You wanted me to go to a hotel. Some of you have come here privately, nothing to do with Nkaniandale. I call him my son. You mean you can't come to my house? Thinking like that is a bad one. We must stop that. We should be able to say, okay, Timothy, can you come and see me that these issues? No. We must resolve this. But anyway, you wanted to say something after? Maybe I've heard enough and maybe you can close it. Yeah.
We really feel like we have talked for a long time.
Okay.
We also understand that you are a busy person. We sympathize with the mentality that is out there. and you have ably said it. It's quite painful that when every moment people want to meet, people think this is the maybe money is exchanging hands. We understood that this was your own initiative, and that's why we came. Probably some things that happen create an impression. There have been developments which happened before. That's where people are saying that, but we all have a duty and responsibility to create that image. And this meeting which we have just had is very important. You have passed your message very strongly, and we have done the same. You know, it saddens some of us that our country is slowly becoming a nation of propaganda. That everything you say is interpreted in a different way, and people, you know, how many letters were written by many people yesterday claiming to say it has been written by me.
I saw that.
I've read letters that I wrote you letters, and we never did that.
Yeah.
So we are becoming a dangerous nation, and some of us strongly hold that as a country we need to heal. There is a lot of impunity that has gone unaccounted for, and we're creating a very dangerous society. That's why we say the issues that we have raised today, I'll just repeat them, Your Excellency, for the sake of records. You know, we have focused much about demonstrations. To be honest, this issue is not about demonstrations. And indeed, you didn't call us because of demonstrations. We believe you called us because you want us as a country to move forward, to resolve the issues at hand. That's what we believe. And we do not want to have an impression that maybe the issue was that demonstrations should hold, then we move on with discussions. We know that you have made a submission like that because you also raised important issues that because of demonstrations, there are some gaps that probably the society is being affected. We cannot dispute that fact because when there is a demonstration, some people will be afraid to open their shops. Some people, we have had issues. We will not pretend that they are not issues. They are issues. But we would also like to request that there must be an emphasis to address the root cause of the problem. If the demonstration is coming out because of Dr. Jane Ansah, then I think we would also expect that there will be more efforts to engage Jane Ansah. And I think it should have been good if you met Jane Ansah earlier, then you meet us, so that you are able to give us also a feedback. But this is a starting point. You said we have to begin the engagement, and we have started that. Your Excellency, our doors are open. Even tomorrow, if you want to engage us, we would assure you that as our father, our leader, will be available for you, because we know that you mean well for this engagement. But moving forward, we would want you to send this message strongly. Amongst the things we raised initially, let me raise this in a very, very strong way. I've seen someone from MDC here. One of the problems that we also have while we have issues is how institutions are also abused, like MBC. And as we speak here, these things we're talking here, they're going to be changed. And MBC will run programs which will be misleading Malawians. So we'd like to appeal to this taxpayer institution of ours. They should know that it's the taxes that we contribute as citizens that they are able to run programs. So as MBC, it's one of the institutions in our petitions. If we were to bring all the petitions we have been submitting to government here, MBC has been featuring highly. So we respect that institution. It is our institution. Even the whole issues we are complaining about, calling some of us foreigners, started from MBC. So MACRA, MBC, and other institutions which are being abused, we want to have a dialogue, a conversation that how can we protect such institutions for the institution to represent Malawians rather than the interest of the few. Ending threats against human rights defenders. Some people are saying they are going to burn our houses. What crime have we committed? Should we be living in fear in our own country? This is an issue that you can also raise, and we're willing to engage on. We're also willing to engage on issues of nepotism. Kusankana mitundu siza bwino mukaya nkula muli asogolera kuti mumakonda anthu mayajana wina ndi zake one Malawi tufuna tisindike tungokumbusani kuti nkani ikale on the agenda tikamapitiriza kumakambirana kani ina ya corruption ndinanena kuti zikuisa Malawi kwambiri izinthu ngati zimenezi. Corruption is very, very high, and we want this to be on our agenda. Electoral reforms, zija anayamba nzatu wa party, and party is part and parcel of these issues we are raising here, and is our partner, is an institution that we have a lot of respect. And next time, probably when we'll be meeting, we would also appreciate to be also with the other stakeholders to be able to engage you, Your Excellency. We have even other former presidents, and you have started a very good journey. We hope even Dr. Joyce Banda, the former president, you can join hands together and be able to engage Malawians to say, Malawians, let's work together. Let's see on how best we can address these issues. Constitutional review process, it's an agenda that we want to also to push forward. But for now, we would propose, Your Excellency, that probably we can give you chance. There is tomorrow. If you can be able to talk to Dr. Jane Ansah, and there is any outcome, you can update us, and we'll be able to effectively respond to you. Our phones will be there. We respect you. We love you, sir, and we would want this engagement to continue. We don't want it to die out. Even if 1 million people would say we'll be bought, we are bought, we'll continue coming, because we know what we're doing is for the good of this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Chair. We have been meeting for almost 3 hours, and
You are a strong man.
do you think so? No, let us end this meeting with my assurance that the issues you have raised will be raised elsewhere. Yeah, or what I'm asking Malawians to say, please let us avoid violence. It's not helping anybody. People are hurt there, businesses are affected. It's not good for this country. Yes, whilst the demonstration is a right, we all support that. I mentioned in the beginning that as one of those that fought for democracy in this country, we said let us create a pillars to support democracy, because we didn't want somebody to come and say no, democracy yata. No. We said Human Rights Commission, all the social, ombudsman, all those, they are required and they are important to this nation. I have heard you, the issues you have raised, and I hope you appeal to your people continuously. Not only you, even the political parties. I think we must avoid violence, really. In 1994, what happened in Rwanda, I was president then. I had gone to Rwanda myself. What I saw there was terrible. It begins bangono, kuochera nyumba, kuochera na hizi, and then you create hatred. We cannot go on like this. We should be able to come on Malawi, to Kambirana, we can resolve issues, and there will always be issues. There will come up issues. But we cannot have violence as a solution to the issues that we are addressing. Right? And through you, all those organizations and the political parties, Jonde, and wakufutika mamizimu mkaochera nyumba zao, katundu wao, the women amatenga tomato kaza kulisa town ntawuzina basa atega kuje tomato wao and ochokera kuita kutali. This it's not acceptable, really. It's not in the spirit of the human rights you are talking about, the democracy we are talking about. I think we need to avoid these things. So let's end there. I can see some journalists coming a little bit late, but this meeting has been there for 3 hours. I would like to thank you, Chair, for responding to my call. It may not be the last time that we're meeting. I think we may meet again. We can run a few things there and then. Meanwhile, travel well. I don't know whether you're going to the wrong way or go to the lake to go and swim. Do you have time that time? Gift. I was Maula, tell me. Oh, you're with McDonald, eh? Did you sleep in the same room? Tell us. Really? Maybe they're afraid of the conniving. Are they?
We are still saving them.
No, thank you very much. I travel well. I hope we meet again. We'll be speaking. And thank you very much indeed, Chair. Thank you very much. Sorry? Gargomet is good?
Coming for another photo.
Oh, no, if he's late, we can't wait for Gargomet.
You get from
No, thank you very much. It's time for the second. Get in touch. Thank you indeed. Yes. Another channel.
Yeah, when I do.
Can you see that now? This is nepotism. How are you? I read your articles in all the time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, yes. All the best. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Asante.
And that was the broadcast of the dialogue between the former President Dr Bakili Muluzi and the Human Rights Defenders Coalition members. We now continue with our scheduled programming right here on Times Television.